Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello, welcome to Politically Correct. I'm DK Singh. I'm here to discuss today the death wish of the Congress. I know when I say that, there may be many mixed reactions. Some of you may be saying or maybe thinking, oh no, come on, I mean, not again. And the second set of people may be thinking, well, the same old thing. Tell me something new. Now, for all of you, for both sections who are thinking on these lines, my response would be, look, we need to be optimistic. And when I say I'm saying death wish, I'm not saying Congress is dying. I mean, in the last Lok Sabha election, Congress got 11.95 crore votes, almost half of what the BJP got. So Congress is not gone yet. Congress is very much there. And in fact, you may have 8 recognized national parties today. But Congress remains probably the only party, the pan-national party, which can actually be an alternative to the BJP. So rest assured, I'm not talking about the Congress death. For the second part, yes, why we are talking about what the Congress is doing is driven by this hope that probably our opposition party, the principal opposition party, becomes stronger. We need a strong opposition party to keep our democracy vibrant. I mean, it has to hold the government accountable for all its omissions and commissions. You may have noticed a lot of lapses in the way the government has been handling the economy. We don't know much about what is happening at the line of actual control with China. You may have a lot of questions to ask the government about COVID management. And who is going to ask these questions? The opposition parties. And that's why you need the Congress to be stronger, or other opposition parties also to be stronger. Congress especially because, as I said, it's the only pan-India party, only national party which can actually take on the BJP and put the government into dock. So trigger for today's talk is how the Congress has behaved on the first day of the monsoon session of Parliament. Now, where do you think Rahul Gandhi is? He has been talking about the COVID mismanagement. He is talking about how the government has messed up with the economy. He has been talking about the situation at the line of actual control and the way we have been dealing with the Chinese incursions. Where is he today? He is in the United States. He decided to accompany his mother, who goes for annual medical checkup to the US. Now, it's a very convenient excuse. I mean, don't really want to make any comment on somebody's health checkup. But it's an annual checkup, it's a routine exercise which could have been advanced or delayed if Rahul Gandhi did have to accompany her. Usually she goes either with Priyanka or Rahul. Rahul decided to accompany her. At a time when the Congress probably has the best chance of cornering the government. There are so many issues. But he just vanished. And another trigger for this talk is, how did he vanish? I mean, that was barely hours after Sonia Gandhi effected a reshuffle in the organization. Now, what's the opposition party's job? First is, of course, to hold the government accountable. And the party has to, to expand, the party has to reach out to people, convince them about its ideology, programs, policies. You have to give some alternative to them, to be considered seriously by the people if you are expecting to get their mandate at some point of time. What has the party done? Friday evening, Sonia Gandhi released a list where she makes a lot of changes in the organizational structure, putting important people at important positions. Now, these organizational structures are very important because see how Amit Shah turned around the BJP's fortune. Now, you have BJP cadres right from village to block to district, state and central level. They're all over. Rahul Gandhi may be cribbing, maybe slamming Amit Shah, Narendra Modi every day. But the fact is, these people have made the organization so strong that they are able to convey their messages. All that Rahul Gandhi is left with is to condemn the media for not projecting. You don't need the media all the time. Media communication is fine, but you yourself have to be there in the field. For that, you need a strong party structure. And what did Sonia Gandhi do? Now, I have a list with me. Now, she did many things. She reconstituted the Congress Working Committee, that's the apex decision-making body of the party. She set up a committee, a special committee, to assist her in her works. She also constituted Central Election Authority. But more importantly, she appointed new general secretaries who are in charge of states. Now, this post is very important. The post of a general secretary in the Congress hierarchy is almost second after that of the Congress president in terms of importance. Because a general secretary is in charge of states. He supervises everything that a party unit in that state does. If the party if the party is running the government in that state, even that government's activities are supervised or monitored by the general secretary. And that's why this post is very important. Now look at how messed up this organizational reshuffle is. Now on top of it, you have Venugopal, K.C. Venugopal. He's very close to Rahul Gandhi, and that's actually the primary reason for his appointment at AICC General Secretary Organization. That's a very important post. All the appointments are done with his signature. He's in charge of the organization. Now look at Venugopal, and what's his credential? He was Alappuzha MP. He refused to contest this time, arguing that because he has got some great responsibility as AICC General Secretary Organization, he cannot contest. Now that was bunkum, frankly, because Ashok Gehlot was also a General Secretary Organization, and he went on to win Rajasthan elections. Now he does not defend his own seat. As a result, the only seat the Congress lost in Kerala in the last Lok Sabha election was Venugopal's constituency. In a normal situation, you would expect the High Command to punish that person. No, he was rewarded with a Rajya Sabha berth. Party nominated him to a Rajya Sabha, and he had been reappointed at the AICC General Secretary Organizations. So that's the way to go. Now, let me talk about another General Secretary, Harish Rawat, former Uttarakhand Chief Minister. He has been made in charge of Punjab. I don't know what loony ideas were being discussed there. Now, Punjab and Uttarakhand, both states will go to polls together in early 2022. The former Uttarakhand Chief Minister, the only actually Congress leader with a pan-state mass base, he is the obvious contender for Chief Ministership there in the next election. You take him off from Uttarakhand, ask him to look after the affairs in Punjab. Either you are not serious about Uttarakhand, or you do not want Harish Rawat to become your Chief Ministerial candidate next time. These are the only two messages you can get. We don't know what's there in Congress High Command's mind. Then we talk about another General Secretary, Oomen Chandy. Oomen Chandy has been given charge of Andhra Pradesh. Now, Andhra Pradesh is a very important state. Now, before bifurcation of their state, the last election was in 2009. Congress got 33 Lok Sabha seats. Of course, post-bifurcation, Congress has lost badly. Congress has not won a single seat in Andhra Pradesh now. Bifurcated Andhra actually. So it's an important state, and it's very important for the Congress to try to regain its lost ground, because it's unlike Bihar or UP, where the party has been out of power for decades. Andhra, it's a very recent phenomenon. And the charge of that state is given to Oomen Chandy, the former Kerala Chief Minister, who was the CM till 2016. Now, again, mind you, Kerala is going to polls in early next year, in April or May. Now, if you want somebody to look after Andhra, either you are asking him to take his eyes off Kerala and focus on Andhra, or you do not want him to focus on Andhra. So again, like in Harish Rawat's case, you either do not want him to be the chief, Oomen Chandy to become the Chief Ministerial candidate again, or you are not interested in Andhra at all. These are the only two possible messages being conveyed by this appointment. Let's look at some other appointments. You have Randeep Singh Surjewala. What are his credentials for this job? He is General Secretary in charge of Karnataka. Again, a very important state. Surjewala's track record is he lost the last 2 assembly polls, including one by-poll in his home state, Haryana. And he has been a disaster as a media manager because you often hear Congress leaders complaining against the media. So obviously the communication is not happening. So God knows what was there in Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi's mind when they decided to appoint him as Karnataka Congress chief. But of course, he is very close to Rahul. He is in Rahul's coterie. That could probably be the top thing on his CV which got him this job, this promotion. Then we have Jitendra Singh from Rajasthan. He was the former Union Sports Youth Affairs Minister, you may remember. He is again very close to Rahul. Now, he was given charge of Odisha in 2018, before the elections, before last year's elections, of course. He was told, well, our party is in a shambles in Odisha. Go rebuild the party. Forget about 2019 Assembly Lok Sabha elections in Odisha. Rebuild it. Spend a few years. So prepare the party for 2024 Assembly election and Lok Sabha elections, of course. And what is done in the organisational reshuffle? Jitendra Singh is taken out of Odisha and he is suddenly sent to Assam. So has the Congress given up hope on Odisha completely? Of course, in the last election, BJP replaced the Congress as the principal opposition party. But has the party just given up? That's the question. You ask somebody to go for overall, a reorganization of the entire setup there, rebuild the party from the booth to the top level, and then you pull him out for no rhyme or reason. And then who is put there as Odisha in charge? Now, let me talk about, Chella Kumar. Chella Kumar has been made Odisha in charge now. Now, Chella Kumar's track record is, he was made in charge of Goa after Digvijay Singh was removed. So, a heavyweight, the replacement of a heavyweight like Digvijay Singh is a big thing. But Digvijay Singh was punished because in 2017 election, Congress emerged as the single largest party, but failed to form the government because BJP took the initiative first. And Digvijay Singh kept waiting from a signal from the High Command about the formation of the government, about the possible tie-ups with other regional parties. That signal never came and BJP went ahead and formed the government. But anyway, Digvijay Singh was made the scapegoat. He was replaced. Subsequently, he was dropped from the Congress Working Committee also. And Chella Kumar was put there. And what has been his performance in Goa? Only last year, 10 of the 15 Congress MLAs quit the party to join the BJP. So that became his credential to get an even larger state like Odisha and even more challenging state like Odisha as in charge. Again, it defies logic, but that's how it is. Now you have Rajiv Satab. Rajiv Satab has been made in charge of, he had been retained as in charge of Gujarat. Now, Rajiv Satab was in charge of Gujarat in 2019 Lok Sabha election also. BJP swept Gujarat. The Congress could not win a single seat in Gujarat in 2019 Lok Sabha election. What happened subsequently? And again, Satab, who was an MP from Hingoli in Maharashtra, he refused to contest, saying that he had so much of work in Gujarat. Congress lost Hingoli subsequently, of course. Satab loses Gujarat also. Then he is rewarded with a Rajya Sabha berth. And now he has been retained as Gujarat in charge. Again, just because he is very close to Rahul Gandhi. He was the Youth Congress president when Rahul Gandhi had started all this democratization process, internal election in Youth Congress to bring the youth into the political mainstream. That failed. That was right when Satab was leading the Youth Congress. So Rahul Gandhi's first failure happened as AICC General Secretary in charge of Youth Congress happened when Rajiv Satab was heading the Youth Congress. But then somehow he likes Satab and Satab has gone up all the way. He is a Rajya Sabha MP now, Gujarat in charge, everything. Then you have Rajiv Shukla, who has been given charge of Himachal Pradesh. Again, after Birbhadra Singh is in semi-retirement mode. He was the tallest leader of the Congress in Himachal Pradesh. After that, the party is facing a huge crisis. Who is given charge of that state? Rajiv Shukla, who has never contested an election. Anyway, the list is long. You have 9 general secretaries and 17 AICC in charges. I can't be discussing all the names. So, in a nutshell, this entire organizational reshuffle, which was supposed to start the process of revitalization of the Congress, has ended up becoming a family exercise to promote Rahul Gandhi's left leanings. Now, I leave it to you to judge whether this opposition party had a death wish, or we are probably looking at it more critically than we should. Thank you.